Morning everyone. So I had fitness class yesterday. I don't know why. I thought this would be a good start, but no. I had fitness class yesterday. Yeah, that was fun. That was cool. I was actually very excited for it. But today, we had like fish and crab and really nice yummy stuff today. Last night for dinner, so good. We had sponge with Emma. Oh, so yummy, so delicious. Anyway, so we had a fitness class. And in the sun, and we had it for an hour. And after that, I saw in the evening I got a feeling of I spent too much time in the sun. Because I'm not actually used to being out in the sun for long periods of time. Also, I'm quite pale, but I didn't get sunburnt or anything. I'm all good there. I put Fat 50 on before I even left. I'm good. Had all the sun protection on. I covered myself as much as I could, without swatting. But I just felt that maybe an hour spent in the sun is a bit too long because there was no shade. But there was a nice breeze, so I was alright. But I think the aftermath of being in the sun was a bit, I actually feel kind of hot. When your skin feels hot. Anyway, but I was fine after I went to sleep. So when I woke up this morning, I wasn't the only one. Everyone else that I did fitness class with and Dad as well. We woke up and our thighs, because we did a lot of like squats and leg stuff yesterday, a lot of leg stuff, and couldn't get out of bed. I was going to wake up at 6, get out of bed to watch Him and Eve, which is on iPad. The last episode, that's because I said to Dad, we have to do that. But my alarm went off, and I couldn't actually move out of bed. So I turned my alarm off and went back to sleep. But I did eventually get out of bed. But I had a phone call this morning. I thought it was my alarm, and I was like, hello. I don't know why. I think my brain somehow knew that it was a phone call, but I didn't know it was a phone call. It was weird. This person, I was like, what? You know how hard. Anyway, but I did some yoga. I did like three sets of yoga and downward dog and things that I usually do, and it helps like stretch the muscles out and feel a lot better now. I'm still stiff, of course, but it's like DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. But I feel good, I feel great. What else? Yeah, but seriously, bending down, and I'm like, and I'm like, but today I was like, I cannot get out of bed. I cannot move. And also there was a mosquito in my room last night, and so I just hopped out of bed like, I was like holding a letter, like ready to squish it. I didn't squish it. I think I stunned it, but I never heard it the rest of the night, so I think I stunned it and shocked it, and it flew out the window, or just, I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, it wasn't there. I didn't get bitten. Because I don't like getting bitten, but I don't really get bitten when I'm at home. It's normally when I travel to, like on holiday to, like Nepal and Bournemouth. Sometimes when I stay there, I sometimes like wake up one night and I got like loads of insect bites. I'm like, how did this happen? Where did they come from? The windows were shut. I don't get it. Anyway, and that normally happens in the night. Anyway, but other than that, I don't really get insect bites. Very rarely I get insect bites, which is kind of nice because I'm like, this is my blood, I need it. Thank you very much. I don't have a lot of it. Well, I didn't have a lot of it when I was having my blood test taken every month. When I was on Accutane. So every so when it was summer and I get insect bites, I was like, I need this blood. I haven't got a lot anyway. But I know we keep producing blood all the time, but that's not the point. Anyway. So on the morning, I'm gonna have my breakfast now, and it's like already like past. I think it's already like 12:30, and I haven't even had breakfast yet. But the yoga, I have uni stuff. Oh, also work experience, I did like audio on a PowerPoint. I've never even done that before. I didn't know it was possible. And I did it, and I handed in all my work experience last night, and I was like, yeah! And handed it on my friend's, because my friend's at her house, and because her Wi-Fi is the best. Like ours is rubbish. Like we went on this this website, I can't remember the name, but here somewhere, and it shows you your Wi-Fi and how good your Wi-Fi is, and like download speed and upload speed, and my download speed is a lot faster than my upload speed, so that's why it takes so long for me to submit work or do something like that. And I was like, no wonder my Wi-Fi is absolutely rubbish. But I thought it was good. Apparently not. I mean, it's probably great for normal things, but I think when it's like submission dates and things, then it gets a bit, this is not the right Wi-Fi. Anyway, so you can do it yourself if you want to. It's very interesting, you learn a lot. I don't know, sometimes numbers don't mean, sometimes I understand that some, because my friend did it, Claire, I asked her to do it when I was submitting everything, and she said, I don't know what any of these numbers mean. I said, don't worry about it, I do. Just read out a number, and she had 20, or she means 20 megabytes or megabits per, what's it, and I was like, it's extremely fast, because I think ours was like 8 at the time. I was thinking, well, our Wi-Fi is absolutely really bad then, isn't it? But yeah, that's what you learn, and yeah, so I'm gonna do more of my work today. I only have my evaluation for my group project, and then I am done. I'm gonna hand that in, and then I'm done. I've handed in. It's so cool because this year, I know I'm not done everything, but I'm just getting work done so much, and I've actually handed in everything really early. So like I say, I handed in early. My work experience, I handed in early. My Friday's project, handed in early. This group project, I'm probably going to hand in early again, like two days early. Wow, like that's not me. I would never do that if it was normal, like normal day, normal time. That's not what I do. I don't do that. So it's like now that I'm doing it, I'm like, that's great, so cool. Although I'm sort of like, well, after everything's all done, what do I do now? Because I can't work, because I'm in hospitality and it's kind of gone downhill right now because of the pandemic. Yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to do there. But I'm also a housekeeper, so I'm not, so I can clean. I don't know where, but you know. Also, so that means, you know. Anyway, so yeah, but I'll probably be doing some volunteering. That is if I can do volunteering because of the situation. I don't know. There's things to do. Bye everyone. Gonna do work now, so bye. Catching up on glow up. Woo!
manager?
Well, here, you want me to give you a hand? No, here's the ring. I'll just stay down here for a moment. Does it fit? Don't forget, let me help you. Oh, come on. Oh, pressure. It's perfect. You know, I always dream.
But where there is no law, there is no opportunity. Where there is no justice, there is no liberty. Where there is no safety, there is no future. We must never give in to anger or hatred. If malice or violence reigns, then none of us is free. I take these actions today with firm resolve and with a true and passionate love for our country. By far, our greatest days lie ahead. Thank you very much, and now I'm going to pay my respects to a very, very special place. Thank you very much.
That was President Trump speaking in the Rose Garden of the White House, announcing that he is deploying thousands and thousands of military personnel and police on the streets of Washington, D.C. He is where we can see in the latest pictures, just a short distance from the White House, more protests going ahead, tear gas being fired, riot police there charging at protesters. The president said that he had recommended to every governor to deploy the National Guard in sufficient numbers to dominate the streets. He said if a city or state refuses to take the necessary action, then I will deploy the US military to do the job for them. He was critical of a number of state governors who have failed to take what he described as sufficient action. He said justice will be served. George Floyd will not have died in vain, but we cannot allow peaceful protests to be drowned out by violent mobs. Jenny Kleeman and Mark Wallace are still here.
How many unarmed black men have been killed by the police in recent years? And hashtags do not work. The Black Lives Matter hashtag has not changed things. People are not safe. There is a feeling that the only reason why we are still talking about this now on British news at the moment is because the protests have got so aggressive. And of course, protests should be peaceful, but we need to understand the feelings behind all of this.
Yeah, okay, Jenny, Mark, thank you both very much indeed. The words of George Floyd's brother, there is another way.
Floyd's death, where his brother condemned the violence of recent days.
Do this peacefully. Please. I know. He would not want y'all to be doing it. And I'm not saying the people here, whoever's doing it, relax.
Demonstrations and destruction have swept the country. Curfews ignored as chaos rules. The driver of this tanker was arrested after speeding into a crowd of protesters in Minneapolis. Remarkably, no one was hurt. The catalyst for all this volatility, the gut-wrenching footage of George Floyd's final hours. It's exposed wounds already so deeply felt over the death of yet another black man at the hands of law enforcement that leaves so many others living in fear.
It's scary because, usually sometimes when you see police, people run.
Incidents like this in Atlanta, Georgia, are only fanning the flames. These two police officers were later fired for using excessive force against protesters. In Fort Lauderdale, Florida, this footage shows a police officer pushing a kneeling woman to the ground. You can see his own colleagues immediately react with anger. He's now being suspended. Shows of force are what the president favors, made clear in his phone call with state governors.
You have to dominate. If you don't dominate, you're wasting your time. They're going to run over you. You're going to look like a bunch of jerks. You have to dominate. You have to arrest people and you have to try people. And they have to go to jail for long periods of time.
In the capital, Washington, D.C., peaceful daytime protests turned violent overnight, with cars and buildings set on fire a stone's throw from the White House. This is what it looks like today. The mayor is not taking any chances tonight. She's imposed a 7 p.m. curfew to try and avoid more damage and violence.
Before lamenting a lack of force, the president was tweeting his usual refrains about approval ratings and fake news. What he's yet to do is address the nation. But Donald Trump is no unifier, so hopes are high that his words would have any real impact.
His 2020 Democratic rival is trying to fill the empathetic healer void. Joe Biden visited protest sites in his home city of Delaware.
We're going to make sure that the economic recovery deals with the institutional structures, the institutional racism, but also economic structures that need to be fixed.
The Minneapolis police chief says that in his mind, the other 3 officers who have yet to be charged were complicit in George Floyd's death. But justice won't come overnight. For now, shows of solidarity are going a long way. In New York, officers prompted cheers as they dropped to one knee to pay their respects to the black victims of police brutality. Somewhere in the despair, there's some very tentative, small hope that George Floyd's death could be the turning point that America so desperately needs. Amanda Walker, Sky News, Washington.
Left the White House grounds and we understand that he is walking to a church in Lafayette Square. This is a church, St. John's Episcopal Church. It was built in 1816 and since then presidents have gone there to pray. In Lafayette Square yesterday, there was a lot of fires set and there were reports that this church was on fire. It wasn't, but there were fires in Lafayette Square following those what started off initially as peaceful protests and then got increasingly violent in DC last night. And what we understand now is that Mr. Trump is walking to that church in Lafayette Square. Now this obviously comes only moments after Donald Trump came out in the Rose Garden and gave that statement, saying that he was deploying thousands of military and civilian police to stop the rioting and looting and what he called the wanton destruction of property in Washington. It follows audio that emerged of Mr. Trump talking to governors, and he reiterated the statements in that recording, in his statement earlier.
Okay, I think it's time for bed.
That being black or minority ethnic is a high-risk factor. What guidance is he providing to the NHS and social care sectors on rostering of BAME staff in high-risk COVID areas? And will his department be investigating whistleblower claims that BAME locums were disproportionately placed on the rota at Western Hospital, which has recently experienced a major outbreak?
Yes, she's right to raise Western Hospital. We've been working very hard to ensure that the local outbreak at Western is brought under control, and that is making progress. She's also right.
I'm back again. As she complained all the bloody way.
morning. Right, that's him. That's right. Done already. Ta-da. That's good. And that one's under. And that one's over. Done it! Woo! Handed in all my uni work now, so I don't know how I feel right now. But it's red.
Lowlifes and losers, Donald Trump's latest assault on America's protesters as he's told he has a duty to care. The man challenging the president implies he is fanning the flames of hate after a week of disorder across the country. Here, the health secretary says Black Lives Matter, as it's confirmed ethnic minorities are more at risk from COVID-19.
This is a complete farce, and I think we'll be back to remote voting before we're much older.
Wyatt's vote leave the building for many MPs unhappy over Parliament's response to the pandemic. Cutting the county lines, the police seized scores of alleged drug dealers. Ordinary people in an extraordinary time, the official archive of the lockdown. And we'll take a look at tomorrow's front pages. That's in the press preview at 10:30. Good evening. Is this who we are? Is this who we want to be? The questions posed tonight by the man challenging Donald Trump for the US presidency after a week of protests following the death of George Floyd. Joe Biden said he wouldn't fan the flames of hatred as the current occupant of the White House condemned what he called lowlifes, losers, thugs and scum. Well, there have now been hundreds of protests and vigils across the United States. In a moment, we'll hear the latest from Los Angeles with Sky's Becky Cottrell. But first, our US correspondent Cordelia Lynch reports from Washington, where the protests and politics are ever more entwined.
Washington, D.C., the seat of power. Looking like a war zone. Protesters ignoring the curfew, met with flashbangs, rubber bullets and tear gas. All just a few minutes away from the White House. In New York, more mayhem. Macy's, an icon of the American high street, ransacked by looters. But a clampdown did reduce the carnage, led by a telling presidential pledge.
I will fight to protect you. I am your president of law and order and an ally of all peaceful protesters.
Even before the curfew, outside, the reality of that promise played out. The crowds aggressively dispersed. Soon after, the path was clear for a stunning moment of political theatre. The president clutching a Bible at an historic church damaged by fire. Today, apoplectic pastors accused him of using it as a cynical prop.
We find the misuse of the Bible and the church as mere photo opportunity deplorable and disgraceful.
To them, it felt like a haunting return to a deeply traumatic era in American life.
He even put horses out here. He used the military and cleared people out as if we were in the 1960s with the Civil Rights Movement.
In Philadelphia, Mr. Trump's political rival pitched the prospect of a starkly different country.
But I promise you this, I won't traffic in fear and division. I won't fan the flames of hate. I'll seek to heal the racial wounds that have long plagued our country, not use them for political gain.
But is promising not to be Donald Trump enough?
What the president can legitimately say is the city now looks a lot more calmer and it's seen far less violence. Even with that, it doesn't have to hurt him. His political ascendancy has been dominated by division. What could make the difference in 2020 is just how diverse the electorate is and how willing they are to get their voices heard.
One thing is for certain, this country is still consumed by unrest, and there's a burning anger that may be very hard to extinguish. Cordelia Lynch, Sky News, Washington.
More than 1,000 people were taken into custody by police in Los Angeles yesterday, and a curfew tonight will be in place from early evening. The home of Hollywood saw looting and a shopping mall was set on fire. Sky's Becky Cottrell reports now from LA.
A crowd in Hollywood defies the curfew and faces the consequences. But one protester didn't get away fast enough.
There we go. That individual there just went down.
This film crew witnessed what seems to be the impact of a rubber bullet. Arresting those who won't obey curfew isn't a new tactic for law enforcement in the aftermath of George Floyd's death. But what's significant here in Los Angeles is how early the stay-at-home order began. The harshest curfew the city has seen since race riots almost 3 decades ago. And that's because of scenes like this.
For days now, vandalism and looting have been a distraction from the message at the heart of these protests. A demand for equality and an end to targeted police brutality.
The president desperately wants to restore law and order, forceful rhetoric at a time when Americans are looking for leadership.
It's about time somebody took charge and did what they're supposed to do instead of what they've done in the past. This guy, I don't care what anybody else says, he's doing a fantastic job. Whether you like him or not, it's the material.
He just wants rule of the land. This is not a sovereign here. This is a president. This is democracy. This is not, we don't have a king. And if we did, his head would be on the chopping block.
Everyone's just really mad that black people are being treated so badly by the law enforcement. And this keeps happening over and over again. So this is why people are rioting. And yes, we do need law and order, but we need a different kind of law and order, I think.
Many in the US are getting used to seeing the military on their street corners. Cities and suburbia on high alert. A rapid escalation in just over a week for a country revisiting tensions that never really went away. Becky Cottrell, Sky News, Los Angeles.
Well, people around the world have turned their social media feeds black today in protest over the death of George Floyd. Blackout Tuesday saw celebrities, sports stars and companies post black squares online and also pause their businesses in a show of solidarity against racism. Formula One driver Lewis Hamilton wrote, "The injustice that we are seeing our brothers and sisters face all over the world is disgusting and must stop." Actor Jamie Foxx, who joined a protest in San Francisco, accompanied his black square with the hashtag Justice for George Floyd.
So I hope that we keep the pressure on them and let them know that we're here with solidarity, that we're here, we're peaceful, but we are aggressive. We are aggressive.
Well, to Cordelia in Washington now. Joe Biden fighting back, Cordelia, accusing Mr. Trump of turning the nation into a battlefield. But do we know if styling himself as the president of law and order plays well with the electorate right now?
Well, look, that is a mantra that he campaigned on back in 2016. He has been consistent on the theme throughout his presidency. but there are potential real pitfalls for him politically. This is a time when the nation wants to be consoled and to heal. And some of the rhetoric that has come from the mouth of the president has been accusing these protesters of being thugs. His decision is to try and cast them as this sort of baying.
So it is Wednesday morning. Well, it's 11. It's 11:15. Hello. As I can tell, I had a good sleep. Look at the wrinkles on my arms. Signs of a good sleep. Could have longer, but I wanted to phone Mummy. I just phoned Mama to ask, you know, when, because I was going to plan to go over today, but I asked her, you know, because I want to have dinner with her, because I know she's going out, and she's going to do shopping for Nanny, and yeah, and then so I'm going to see Mama tomorrow and have dinner with her and have a lovely time. So sorry. And yeah, I look so great in the morning, but no, look at that. Look at my hair. I don't even know what my hair's doing. Look at that. Look at that flip. Yeah, my skin at the moment isn't doing. It's okay, but it's starting to go a little bit near in places, which isn't terrible. I mean, I kind of figured that just because now I've handed everything in for uni and I've done everything. It's sort of I guess the built up stress, you know, subconsciously or something that I still have. I don't know where it is. I don't know what to do with it. I don't feel stress or anything. I don't feel stress or anything, but I know that unaware stress, I guess, doesn't know what to do, because this is what it is. So whenever I have a heightened situation after it's over, I'm just sort of like twiddling my thumbs, like I have no idea what to do. How do I celebrate? But I don't know, because, you know, how do you release the stress that you have? I don't know. Anyway, I can go yay and stuff, but I think it takes a few days for like you to calm down. So I think that's why it's like reacting on my face right now. But it's not too bad. It's fine. It's cool. To be honest, during lockdown, I thought I hoped my hair would grow. I hoped. You know, I just had that bit of hope that my hair would grow. My fringe has grown. My hair, hasn't really. I mean, compared to the months leading up to me wanting to cut my hair, you know, my hair was like from here, like you see it now, and literally just a few months was like, and then like it was down to my bum, and I was actually, oh my gosh, how did I do that? And I know how I did that. It was the help of shampoo, a special shampoo from Superdrug. It's Superdrug's own brand, except they've discontinued it. They don't make it anymore, and so I'm kind of stuck, because that was the best for my hair. It's like conditioner actually, but it was the best for my hair. It made it soft, it made it silky, it made it grow. I had no idea how it did that. You know, it didn't say it does that, but that did it for me anyway. And now I can't, and now they've discontinued it and they don't do it anymore. I'm just like, no, I want my hair to grow. I mean, I don't mind it being mid-length right now, but, you know, I guess I hoped it would grow during lockdown, but yeah, it's not. I mean, I don't mind that it hasn't, but, you know, I would have slapped a little bit, you know. But I mean, I'm not obsessed over it. I just, you know, would have liked it if it did, because I know everybody else's has. Mine hasn't. I'll just stay the same, like, yeah. I'll just stay here, thanks. But Sunday, when I stayed a lot in the sun, my hair kind of got a little lighter, I guess. I kind of felt like my skin got really, really hot, and I think an hour in the sun, even with all the sun protection and everything, is too much for me. I am quite pale, but it was also very, very hot. There was a breeze, so it was alright, but I think an hour in the sun is a bit too long for me and my body and my, so I think I'll be aware of that in the future. I mean, I never stayed in the sun that long anyway. I think that's the longest I've ever stayed in the sun. Actually meaningful to stay in the sun. But I'm alright. I didn't get butt sunburn. I didn't get tanned. I'm good. I'm happy, And the weather today is a little glorious sunshine, really hot, and it still really is warm. But look, it's not really that sunny. It's a bit cloudy today. It's hot, but it's cloudy. And I heard on the weather we're expecting rain. And yesterday was Blackout Tuesday, I think it was. I understood it and everything. I'm making dinner for myself. Yes, I haven't done a lot today. I was gonna see Mum, but phone, blah blah blah. See Mum tomorrow and having dinner, yay! Okay. But right now I'm making my dinner now. Yes, I did have a shower. I did do everything. Don't worry. Been trying to edit on my new computer. It's a bit odd. I'm unfamiliar with it because it's my new computer and it's a different software. But I'm getting the hang of it quite quickly. So. And I am behind, but just because I had so many deadlines, so yeah, videos are gonna be out. Fine. I'm making my own dinner. Excuse me. It's a kettle. Don't worry, it's a kettle, guys. Ooh, we've got steam. Ooh. There. So I am having pasta with sauce. Yes, it's bolognese sauce. I'm not having bolognese, but it's like plain tomato anyway. So it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Oh, gotta let that boil. Otherwise. Oh, and I have this thing. I'm doing it in the same, not the same like size this way, but the same that length. Anyway. I used to do this when I was little with the colander. I was like, look at me, a spaceship. I was a funny kid. So yeah, I'm gonna do dinner for myself. Pasta. This is great. Seriously, this pasta is so good. So yummy. You've seen it before, but so yummy. Spoiling! Is in and I started the timer. This only takes like 8 to 9 minutes to cook. So yeah. Sauce, but that didn't happen because I sort of just tipped it and then it just went